Wow, that's fuzzy. Hi, this is Sandy with Needs a Ribbon, and I'm just getting set up. I had a little Facebook changed their live settings, which kind of threw me off, so I'll be right there. Wow. This is when I need an assistant to like cue in some music or talk or whatever. Wow, so I go on to live today or Facebook business page from where I do my lives, and Facebook has changed how you access the live feature. So that took me a few minutes to figure that out, so thanks for the heads up, Facebook. One of the things that, love or hate Facebook, they do change things and they don't always tell you. And I guess this was one of those days. Anyway, so starting all over. This is Sandy McManus with needsaribbon.com, and I am coming to you live August 1. I have some cool things to share today. I have a technique and a product suite to share with you today. And let me show you the product suite that I'm going to be using for this technique. It's the Twinkle suite that is on page 82 and 83 of the U.S. annual catalog. And it features the stamp set. It features moon and stars punch, some baker twine that's got silver and a color, either petal pink or pool party in it. It's got some adhesive back sequins, which I do not have. The color, the cardstock that coordinates, and then the designer series paper. The diseased paper. How about that? Sorry, so if you're just joining me live, I'm still getting stuff organized here. I am sharing the Twinkle product suite, I believe, Twinkle product suite, and some fun technique. So again, page 83 is the products. I do have one alternate product, but I primarily used the products from this suite to do this technique. So kind of hit two birds with one stone. And so if you're just joining me, be sure and like what you're seeing and share. Hey Janelle. Janelle's just joining me. I'll kind of repeat. I am showing a cool technique with the Twinkle product suite today, and I call it diseased paper already instead of DSP. So I'm on a roll. Okay, so here is the technique that I based it on. This isn't, again, I've been kind of this summer going back through older techniques. This is an older one. This one was actually done by my upline Denise. It was a thank you card she sent me a few years ago for borrowing something. And I can't remember the exact name. It's called a bunch of different things. It's like split window DSP, window slot DSP. It's got a variety of names. I'll stick to, what did I call it on my instructions? I actually have instructions all typed up today too. Not for this. I have them. I grabbed them off the printer. I called it the DSP slot window technique. So again, this is what I was kind of basing it on. That one's really cute. I like the accent. Of course, this is a coffee cup, so that's everything Sandy, and I think she knew that. But I want to show you some of the samples that I've already done. This is one of them. And again, using the Twinkle suite on page 83 of the annual catalog. And I made it smaller. Hers, she used the whole front of her card. And I took and shrunk it up and That's what I did, and embossed and added a little more doodads. So that's one of them, using the Twinkle Twinkle. Here's the next one, kind of taking that same idea. And again, it's all over Pinterest, variety of names. It's a really cool way to use your DSP. So here, this is another one. I just kind of made it a smaller layer and put the greeting in there. Here's another one that is essentially the same layout as Denise's. Put the greeting there. And here's the punch. That's this punch from the Twinkle Twinkle Suite. And be sure to kind of have a catch bucket when you use this, because those little pieces, especially those two little circles, they go flying everywhere. And you can see that, I think you can kind of see that I put a wink of Stella to make the stars twinkle a little bit. Just the 3 big ones. I didn't do the smaller ones on that one. And on this one, I did Winky on the constellation. Oh yeah, and I did Winky on these too. Wink of Stella. Okay, here's another sample of it. And I flipped, because I did a straight cut instead of a diagonal cut. I was able to reverse my DSP on the top and bottom. And I did do those in Wink of Stella also. And then here's my final one, not using the Twinkle Twinkle Suite. But it uses the vertical greetings stamp set. This is a fantastic use for the vertical greetings stamp set. It's one of those that's been around a couple catalogs, couple big catalogs. And I've come up, it's one of those that you really either have to know how to work with a vertical stamp or you don't. I think it's truly a love it or hate it stamp set. And, but I thought this was great. Unfortunately, I stamped that a little crooked, but we won't talk about that. Oh, and then I do have two samples of that product suite. Obviously using a different, this one's from Tammy Nelson. This is a card exchange swap that I got. So that's using that same beautiful DSP. I love the colors in this DSP, probably because I love Petal Pink and Pool Party. It's pretty much like my favorite colors. So, and then here's another one, interesting one from, I know I saw her name, Becky Edson. I like to give credit. And I love how she did that. She punched it out of the cardstock. So that meant she had to come in from the top. And then she laid the DSP there and then laid it on top of a bigger layer of white. So that's really cute. This would also, ooh, a shaker card. Wouldn't that be a darling shaker card? So those are the 2 samples that I have gotten using this product suite, and I thought those were worth sharing. So how do you do this? It seems pretty easy, but the math can kind of, I'll set these aside a minute. Math can kind of trip you up, I learned, which is why I wrote up some instructions for this. And I'll go over them real quick, and I'll just kind of pause it if you want to look at it. Eventually I will get this on my website. I'm a little slow on that. So the supplies you need the DSP, as I called it, the diseased paper of your choice. A stamp set with a greeting that is 1/2 inch or 1 inch in height, some coordinating cardstock and accessories to decorate, and of course your usual scissors, adhesives, blocks if you need them for your stamp set, etc. So here's what you do. If you do it this layout way, you cut your card base. Be sure and use a light color, whisper white or very vanilla, or a lighter color that the ink will show up on. You don't want to do like basic gray on basic gray or anything. Your greeting isn't going to show, because usually I've seen these with the greeting is in there. I mean, you could do some decorative element, but it really does make that greeting pop. So then I have some basic measurements for your designer series paper for this, and then you cut your slot either diagonal, vertical, or horizontal. Again, I did mine vertical, horizontal, horizontal, diagonal, and diagonal. So after you get your DSP cut, you cut it, and then you want to lay it on your whatever you're laying it on, your card base or your card layer. You just want to gently rest the DSP kind of in its final home. You want to stamp. I don't recommend adhering the DSP and then stamping, because if you screw up, then you're out the DSP and everything. So just kind of gently rest it in place. If you have anything like Hermafix or some kind of repositionable adhesive, you could use that too. So you want to stamp, lay, stamp, then you can go ahead and, finish your card, adhere your DSP, and so on. So that is my one tip, is kind of put your DSP in place, stamp, and then attach it, just so you're not out a bunch of supplies. And as low as I am on DSP right now, I would probably cry. It really would. Let's take a quick look at this Twinkle Twinkle Designer Series paper. I just want to show it real briefly. So here's one of the colors, and then it has this great constellation on Pool Party. It's got the navy with the constellation, the star, kind of Milky Way, whatever, celestial look. And this is granite gray and white stars. And my kitty, I think, is going to join me. Hi, Matza. And we have petal pink with just kind of that pebbled look that we have a fair amount of in art. It's just a great kind of neutral, non-patterned, non-directional patterned, I should say, paper. And then we have this fantastic, which I've been cutting this up, and I just love the colors in this. It's like some of my favorite colors in our current color with our color refresh. Then we have the stars in all the colors of the product suite. And on the back of that, we have the petal pink constellation paper again. And have I hit on all of them? No, I have not. Then we have the soft seafoam big and small stars, or really small and smaller stars. And on the back side of that is some granite gray kind of stitched look, which is adorable. I really do love this paper. And because it has some neutral patterns in it, you do not have to use it with this product suite at all. So then we have that same pattern in navy and white, and the kind of that stitched look. And on the back side is just a universal star pattern with Pool Party in white. So that is basically your Twinkle Twinkle Designer Series paper, or today we're calling it diseased paper, because apparently my mouth was having issues. So I think that kind of gives you the basics here. I'll go over the measurements, and then I'm going to do one live too if I don't mess up the first one. So you want to make your card base, and here's my recommended measurements. Is if you want a 1/2 inch window, which would be half this size, that's a 1 inch window. You want to cut this layer if you're stamping directly on the base. So if you're just doing the standard finished, it would be 4 by 5 1/4 layer. You want to cut your DSP to 4 by 4 3/4. So if you add a 1/2 inch, that makes it 5 1/4. So if you want a 1 inch window like this, you're going to cut your DSP to 4 by 4 1/4, and then cut your diagonal, horizontal, vertical, however. Well, with the vertical one, you got to do different. So diagonal or horizontal. So if you are stamping on a layer, did I do one like that? No. But we'll pretend. Actually, we'll pretend with this one. Like if this was your DSP layer and you had another layer on there before the card base, you're going to cut this. If this is our fictitious DSP, you're going to cut that to 3 3/4 by 4 1/2 for a 1/2 inch window, and 3 3/4 by 4 for your 1 inch window, like that. So essentially what you're doing is figure out what your final DSP layer is going to be, and minus, if you're going to cut it side to side, whether it's you want to minus 1/2 or 1 inch from whatever direction you're cutting. Honestly, it seems to make sense, and it seems like it would be kind of a duh thing until you start cutting your DSP, and then you get all freaked out. and you think you've cut it wrong, which happened to me when I was making these. I got all confused about which direction, and oh my gosh, I was fine. But okay, so where are my supplies? So let's make one or two live. And here's the little Twinkle stamp set. It has this great heart constellation. It has a single star. It has kind of a grouping. It has some kind of big dippery looking one. It was written in the stars. Congratulations, your Wordle just got a little brighter. And really, honestly, this is supposed to be a like baby type product suite, but that does not necessarily apply. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, well, that may be a little bit. A star is born. That could either apply a child or maybe a fantastic moment in life, something like that. Love you more than the stars. Again, doesn't have to be, I wouldn't necessarily think of this as a child's stamp set. So let's get started. I have pre-cut my card base. This one I'm going to stamp directly on the card base. And I have to reach across the camera and get my cutter, which I left. Sorry about that. So I want a 1.5 inch slot with this one. Not a half, not 1 inch, a 1.5. So I've cut it to about 4 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to cut it diagonally. What I want to do is fit this in there. So, this is live. And I don't have any more paper cut, so if I mess it up, and I said I wanted granite. Okay. So we are going to, and where to cut your diagonal, that's a personal choice. I found for me it was easy to line up one point along this edge of the cutter and kind of guesstimate so you get an even, so it kind of goes in the middle of the DSP. If you want, you could probably pre-mark it with your Simply Scored tool if you're one of these really super anal people that has to have, you know, an exact thing. But those two lines look pretty close. We're going to go ahead and I'll put aside my cutter a minute. And here's what I mean by kind of pre-laying. I didn't bring a bone folder. I want to make sure that's super flat. And that's the other thing. I got a little flipped around last night too. Make sure you match up your DSP so they're continuous. So it looks like an actual break. So you want to get that kind of lined up in its approximate final home. Yep, that will fit. You want to open your ink pad. It's always a little more nerve-wracking doing something live, even if I'm okay doing this. So ink up your stamp. Set aside your ink so you don't lay your hand in it. And I'll put it up here. So we have that, and then you want to, sorry about that quiet there, glue this down. And I will finish, I don't think I have much, I will decorate this off and show it in my next live, but yep, I wasn't quite straight. With the camera in the way, it kind of makes it, you know, you can't like sit over your projects, so things sometimes get a little off, but that's okay, it's handmade and it's stinking cute. Nonetheless. So, yeah, my greeting's a little crooked. Oh well, it's a sample. So then you could take, if you wanted, and punch out some stuff from here and decorate it. I actually kind of want to take and use this and silver foil and put it on this one. So I'll finish this one later, but you get the general idea. Okay. So the next one, I have, going back to my instructions, I have my card base, which I'm not going to stamp on this time. I actually have a layer, and I have my cardstock, and you can see how when you lay it down, I'm only going to have a 1/2 inch okay. Yep. I'm sorry. I have to look at my little notes. Scratch paper. Really technical. Okay. So you can see I'm only going to get a 1/2 inch slot with that. And I'm actually not this time stamping directly on that slot. I'm using it just as more of a decorative element. So just another way to do it. And let me get my ink out of my little goodie bucket here. Get that opened up ahead of time. Put this aside. Oh, I don't need that. That's right. I am stamping on scratch. Okay, I will get my stamping done. I am going to, like I said, I'm using the, on this one, I am using the slot as an accent. So there you go. I will cut that out in a minute while that dries. And I need to bring my cutter in again. And I want my slot a little more toward the top this time. So I'm going to go with that same line up there because that just is easy for me. But I'm going to put it at a really sharp angle. Is that good? No, I want it up there. Whew. And again, attach it. So raise your hand, which in this case would probably mean liking or some kind of comment if you want to go now and try this technique. It also would be a great way to use up some of your smaller pieces of designer series paper. See, this is why I wanted to kind of use it as almost like I was thinking kind of a Milky Way kind of thing. But yeah, don't have to always stamp in there. Good enough. And then glue that down. And I think next week I'm going to try another pocket card. I've got some ideas. I tried one last week. I think next week I'm going to go back to one of my, what I'm calling my pocket card series. And so I'm going to fussy cut this because we don't have a star punch anymore. And I'm not going to run it through the Big Shot because I believe it coordinates. No, we don't have any star Big Shot. Wait a minute. The wood crate. Yes, the wood crate framelits. That's the same size star. So I will fussy cut. They're straight cuts, so it's not too bad. It's still not my greatest skill, but sometimes you just need to just do it for the effect. Whoops. Got a little short there. Cut this off. So yeah, but I just think, so if anyone is just tuning in, whoops, see I got that, oh well, I probably would have been better off just cutting along the navy. I wanted a small white border. Okay, so if anyone's just tuning in, I am showing the slot DSP window, as I'm calling it. Again, it's called a variety of names, using the Twinkle product suite on page 83 of the annual catalog in the US. And I say that because I have some people that watch from other countries, which is really kind of cool. And they usually catch this, Regina and a few others, they usually catch this the following morning because time frames are a little off for them, and that's cool. I love it. Love that I can reach an international audience all from my stamp studio. Okay. So this was kind of my thinking, and I'll add some more stuff to it later. Was to finish it something like that. See, again, don't have to stamp in the slot. I was just using it as kind of an accent. So let's bring the cards back in that I've done. So we have those two that I did live, and I'll decorate them up a little bit more off camera. So we have a 1.5 inch slot and a 1/2 inch slot. Here is a 1 inch slot that's horizontal. Here's the sample that I went by from Denise with the 1 inch stamping directly on your card base. Here's a 1 inch with some layers. Here's a 1 inch again stamping directly on the base. Again, horizontal stamping directly on the base and flipping your cardstock. And then a vertical one where I did stamp directly on the base and used my favorite product suite, Nature's Poem, because I just love it. So that's what I have for today as far as cool techniques. And I hope this inspires you to go and try it. And here's the stamp set again. And I will do my best to try and get the instructions posted. I'll let them sit here for a minute so you can always pause the live and look at them. And I'm really excited because in 2 weeks I get to register to go to the 30th anniversary on-stage convention in Orlando, Florida. I have my hotel, I have everything else booked. I am so excited. And if you join my team, there is still time to register between now and I'm not sure they're not saying how many slots that they're allowing, how many people, but I know it is the second largest convention center in the United States. So I'm thinking that they've got plenty of space, but don't know. Best to hop on there. If you join my team by the 14th, hop on right away as soon as that opens. I'm so excited. And bonus day started today. That's mine. Bonus day started today, and I already took advantage of them and placed an order. So with bonus days, what happens is for every $50 you spend, you get a coupon for $5. There is no limit once you hit that first 50 to use September 1 through 30. And what will happen is, I blocked this out so nobody can use my codes, but they will send you an email with each order. Now, I placed a big order, so I got a bunch of coupon codes, so there is no limit during August. They'll send you you can't lose your email though. So you get $5 for every $50 to spend in September, and I've already got a wish list for what I'm going to use my coupons on. So that's a really cool thing. And it really is a great promotion. So if you place, let's say you place a $100 order now, you'll get 2 $5 coupons, but then toward the end of August, you need another $150. You'll get another email with 3 more $5. So $25 in free money for September. Contact me if you want any more information on that, but that's kind of the gist of how that works. They will automatically prompt you with this when you're placing your order, whether you're a demonstrator or a customer. So very cool. So thank you very much for tuning in today and taking a look at what I call my DSP slot window technique. If you Pinterest for some version of that, you can find samples. And I thank you. And we will see you live on Monday, August 6th. Not sure what I'm doing yet. Something. Bye.